Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
We're rolling on a Tuesday. Sports Cage. Thank you for tuning in, however you are doing that. If it is on 620 CKRM, celebrating 100 years this year on any of the audio streams, or watching through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Curtis Gammon is with me today. Have you ever played backgammon? I was thinking about this yesterday. Don't you get situated? We got a plethora of guests for you, and we're going to talk a bunch of different sports. Rider news, rider updates, injury updates coming up in mere moments. Rob Vanstone, rider historian, is going to join us in hour one. A couple of segments with Rob. If you have any questions for Rob, if you have any questions for any of our guests, the Prairieland Rentals text line is open, 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals, located at 600 Albert Street in Regina, where you get to deal with the owner. Whether you need a push mower, zero-turn mower, or the robotic Husqvarna mowers, or if you just need something to rent for that job you're doing. 600 Albert Street, that number 936-6262. Hour two, more rider audio. We have one-on-ones. We're going to hear from DeMarcus Fields. We're also going to hear from, it looks like, Malcolm Bell coming down as well. At 4:30, the legend, Sasky boy, Colby Armstrong, from the Spitting Chicklets podcast, from TNT, Sportsnet, former NHLer, because there is a lot of news going on in the National Hockey League. Love it or don't. Crazy what's going on in Edmonton. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Do I really care? Not really, but I think it's actually quite funny. Hour three, Glen Suitor. I got put Glenn on task this afternoon as well, because if you're a football fan, do you know the name Brendan Sorsby? There's some trouble with his NCAA. He was going to go into the NFL what's it called? Anywho, supplemental draft. NFL today said, nope, we're not having one. So now what is Sorsby going to do? People are wondering. He's made bank in nil money. He had a problem with gambling. He went to therapy for it. He's back out now. He wanted to go into the NFL supplemental draft. NFL said, nope, we're not doing it this year. Sorry, bud. So now people are saying, is he going to come to the CFL? Currently, nobody has his rights. Glen Suitor's looking into it, though. More. Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia, $50 in hour three. $50. It'll have to do with Mike Babcock. I'll tell you, that's your tease. Okay, we're also going to play Pick the Score at some point today and a whole lot more. Shows for Sask Lotteries. Sport, culture, recreation in Saskatchewan. At last check, nobody has won any of the major prizes in the Rider Scratch tickets, Saskatchewan Lottery style. I actually tried to buy one the other day at the fueling station I was at.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have one. I don't know if they were sold out or what. $75,000. There's two of them. You got Rider Suite packages. You have season tickets for 10 years for the Riders. A lot of the big prizes haven't been won. So get out there, support sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. Curtis, I asked you the question. I thought of it yesterday when I was like, why haven't we given him the nickname Backgammon?
Because you guys just keep calling me Colson.
I don't.
I don't know. To be honest, I have played it, but
I have never.
I don't know what it is. I always lose, though. I always lose at backgammon. I don't know.
Can you give me 30 seconds on how the game is played?
You're basically just trying to get around the board, and you don't want to leave like a piece on its own because you can kind of get it knocked and it goes back to your thing. There's a bit of strategy involved, plus a bit of luck because it's like a dice rolling game. So I don't know.
Isn't there a cool leather case?
Yeah,
that comes in
cool leather case.
Yeah, I always thought backgammon guys were cool.
Super cool, but yeah, I always find I get off to a good start, and then if I don't have a lot of pieces left, I always just like fumble and have like one piece left and always lose. So I don't play very often.
Anyway, your new nickname is Backgammon.
No, thank you.
Coach Mace talking today. I know I'm not here on Mondays to recap the game and what everyone thought. I did catch some of the show yesterday. Mm-hmm. Josh Bell was hilarious. Josh Bell's a great interview. Josh Bell could be top 5 interview in the city.
Wow. That's high regards from Barney.
City. He was good. We didn't get a lot yesterday when it comes to injury updates, but I know Rider Nation, a lot of you are holding your breath. What is going on? We're only 3 games in as of this weekend, and we're already dealing with some major injuries. Coach Mace today gives us an update. It looks like the timing is quick. I got a funny feeling he ain't giving us much on AJ Ouellette. Not playing most of that game, going off the way he did, going into a week 3 game. I would bet, if I could take this to Sprinkletown, I would say AJ Ouellette is not. Can you show that clip again? Could you slow it down?
I'll show it. Yeah, once.
If you're watching the stream, Curtis is doing fantastic work on the video on exactly what he runs to the left. I don't know. I don't know. Is it a knee? Is it a calf? Is it for when I remember first watching it, I thought it was football in the groin or hand in the groin area.
According to their injury report, it says ankle injury.
Ankle. It kind of maybe does look like it could be a little bit of ankle. 936-6262. Couple of one name, Trevor, thinks AJ will be back. Another texter says, don't play him. I don't think he's playing. Somebody's saying the audio was down. Is that to us? I take it is. Other injuries? The secondary, defensive backs. Here we go. Sometimes it's offensive line. Sometimes it's other positions. Right now, it seems that we got the jinx going with our defensive backs. Coach Mace on Juju Hughes and his injury update.
Juju Hughes injury update? All right, I got it.
Yeah, Juju, that's a tough one, man. Unfortunately, Juju's gonna be out a long time, man. So just tough the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, but it's football, unfortunately. But rough, man. The kid was having a good game, great camp, great player, excellent kid. Just wish him well.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Coach May's giving it to us straight there. Officially a lower body injury for Juju Hughes. He's toothpick guy, isn't he?
Yeah, toothpick guy.
I was at I don't think they sponsor on the show, so I was at a place actually on the weekend. I sent you guys a picture in the SportsCage chat. They had the cinnamon toothpicks. The new ones, though, not the old ones.
Ooh,
like we had as a kid. Heather said there was no volume on the Mace interview. The audio was down.
My bad. It was literally the only one I didn't have routed to the stream.
Okay, well, let's go again.
We'll do it again?
Let's go. The update on AJ Ouellette, people. We got you here. This is live. This is live programming. This isn't AI or anything crazy either. Here was Coach Mace's update with the audio up on AJ Ouellette.
Oh yeah, it's still trending. I gave him a day today, and we'll see how it feels tomorrow. But with AJ, we can roll that thing all the way to the game, man. He's done it long enough.
Short and sweet.
There it is. I don't know. Rest him. Let's rest him. Okay, Coach Mace getting back to the defensive backs. He talks about how weird all of these injuries to the defensive backs.
Yeah, I find that it kind of rolls like that sometimes, and in 24 it was the O-line, and last year it was kind of receivers, and so far this year it's just been that one position really, but that's why you have a full locker room of guys that need to know what's going on in totality to be able to roll out there.
Riders today announced they're bringing back kind of one of those ones, if you blinked, you missed it. James Burgess Jr., no relation to Tom as far as I know, rejoining the Riders after spending training camp at the club here in 2026. Prior to the Riders, get out the flag, let's go. Burgess Jr. signed with the New England Patriots as an undrafted free agent. Spent his college years at Alabama State, finishing his senior year with 4 interceptions while playing cornerback. Coach Mace talks about bringing back James Burgess Jr.
That was one of those tough decisions, honestly, at the end of camp there. We thought he had a good camp, touched the ball a bunch of times in practice, got one in a preseason game as well. It was one of those hard conversations. You just tell him, hey, stay in shape, you just never know. And it was a situation we were able to bring him back, man, so happy to have him back.
Okay, on the looking at the running backs here, looks like it's probably going to be TBH, Thomas Bertrand Houdon. If AJ can't go, we also got Quali Conley, and Coach Mace talked about him potentially getting on the game day roster. Thomas Bertrand Houdon was taking first-team reps today at practice.
I would say the first thing you aim to is looking at his mental components, man. Just, he came in late to camp. He digested it, worked his tail off to understand, and knows who to block, knows who to pick up. Obviously, a lot of running backs at this level, you hand them the ball, they're going to know what to do once that gets going. But following into our philosophies and what we feel from, at the position and listening to Dru, he's been excellent, man. So if it goes down to that and, he gets a shot to go, he's been around long enough now to understand. But like I said, we'll see with AJ.
I don't know. 936-6262. Heather, you are correct. She texts in saying, Juju, crying emoji. He was bawling. It's the nature of the game, right? It's the nature of the game. Trevor from Regina, text line, he's believing Juju was Achilles. Wrong spelling, but who am I to judge about spelling? I got you, Trev. Don't worry about it. That's actually, you're the second person I heard that from today. So I think they're saying officially a lower body. So yeah, that's not good. Goes back to the old Achilles. Does anybody remember their parents in the 80s having their dad or their dad's buddy rupturing an Achilles? Just never happened. Achilles, it's weird. As we go, we got Rob Vanstone coming up here momentarily. As we go to break, though, we're going to leave you with a little one-on-one exclusive. Malcolm Bell jumping in with Dave Thomas, the rookie, getting some playing time. Here's Malcolm and Dave.
Malcolm Bell, it was really fun to see you get some taste of action in that game in Calgary. Tell me a little bit about what you saw.
I saw a team that was ready. My teammate, you talking about, like them?
Yeah, you.
Oh, yeah. It was a great game, They came in ready. It was a great game. They were playing fast. Came in the game, I already knew what it was. I had to get ready, and I got in the game, and I was ready to play. And not a lot of plays came my way, but when it came, I made the play that I needed to make, and we got the victory, so that's all I can ask.
They were looking at you. You probably felt that, but you made the play. How gratifying is that?
Oh, that's great. Going to work every weekend, and now you go to the game, and you got a chance to make the plays that was coming at you, the same plays during the week, and they coming at you, and you clutch on it, you work on it. It's kind of good. That's great.
Tell me about the communication. Boy, there was a lot of talking going on.
Yeah. It was a very loud stadium, so every play I was making sure that 22 and Phil and number 5 Brooks were just talking every play, and the communication was straight. They make sure every time I was in a good position and I wasn't missing no call, and so that was great.
Coach Bell said when you went in, he just looked at you and you had this look that you were ready to go.
Yeah, I did. Because the first game I wasn't too ready. I wasn't expected. They told me to be ready, but everybody say that until it was time to get ready. But this game I was ready to go up in the field. So this time when he looked at me, I looked at him like, hey, you better put me in there because it's my time. And I told you at the beginning of the year, I'm not here just to stay on the bench. Like anytime it's time to get in, special clutch time, I'm ready. So that's what I'm here for.
Welcome back to the Sports Cage for Saskatchewan Lotteries on this Tuesday, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation. Get out there, and if you haven't, buy your Rider Scratch ticket supporting sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. The big prize is still up. Don't forget Riders 50-50 as well. Early bird deadline Thursday, 10 p.m. The early bird prize this week, I just read this for the first time. I didn't know this. Blue Jays weekend in Toronto for 2. Package includes return flights from Saskatchewan to Toronto, 2 nights at a downtown hotel near Rogers Centre, 2 tickets to a Jays game. If you don't want to go watch the Jays play, you can just take $3,600 cash in that package. Not a bad deal. Riders5050.ca. Again, the deadline is at 10 p.m. on Thursday. Western Pizza, perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, the lasagna, the ribs, the spaghetti, salads, souvlaki. Call your local Western Pizza tonight. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Joining us, Rider historian, friend of the program, Rob Vanstone, once again this week. Rob, nice to see ya. We go into overtime. I'm wondering this. You didn't go to the game in Calgary. What did you think? Did you think we were going to see the new overtime rules? I was actually kind of hoping for it.
I was wondering there for a while, but when we've seen Trevor Harris in the Western Final, we saw him against BC in the season opener. Give him a chance to march the ball for a touchdown, and chances are that's going to happen. So as soon as Calgary kicked that second field goal, I thought, okay, it's Trevor time. And he did what he has been known to do in those situations. And all nerves are calmed once Tommy Stevens comes into the game. It was like the Grey Cup. Honestly, that Grey Cup was the most stress-inducing sporting event in my life. And the only 2 plays where I could calm down were the 2 plays Tommy Stevens came in to rush for a 1-yard touchdown. It's like my anxiety abated both times. Oh, good, Tommy's in. I can exhale, and I kind of experienced the same thing on Saturday when Tommy rushed for 2 more touchdowns.
Seattle Seahawk fans might have had that same feeling close to the end zone at one point, but it didn't work out like that in 2015.
They beat Denver the year before, so that's a sore point for me too. Just mentioning them. They had their fun the year before, and it was there were tears shed.
I just saw a new commercial that's out there with Marshawn Lynch, and he's with 2. They're on the beach, and it's him and a guy, and they have a cooler of beer, and then the guy's like, "Hey, throw me a beer," and he's like, "It's the last one," and he's like, "Just throw it," and Marshawn's like, "No, I'll run it over." He's like, "No, just throw it." It's really well put. It's well put together. I think it was for a beer company. Anyway, I just saw it the other day. Speaking of Trevor Harris, 3 TD passes back-to-back games. Does that happen often for the Riders?
No, it's only happened previously in Grey Cup winning seasons, so perhaps that's a good omen. Ron Lancaster opened the 66 season with 5 and then 3, and then Tom Burgess opened and I heard your Tom Burgess reference earlier, so it's all fitting together today. Tom Burgess opened with 3 and then followed up with 5 in 1989. So those are the 2 precedents. It'll be interesting to see where Trevor goes from here. The record for 3 games is 10, and Trevor's at 6 right now.
Oh,
Ron Lancaster set the record of 10 in 1966.
Okay. Kean Schaefer-Baker had a day 53 yarder. I would have thought, if I would have said that's probably his longest, but it wasn't.
No, he had an 85-yarder against BC in August of 2022, a bomb from Cody Fajardo. And 53 was his second longest scoring reception. And Riders have had 2 receptions of 50-plus yards this season. It's Kian Schaefer-Baker in both cases, got a 52-yarder in the opener against BC. He seems to, the 2 games is just the impact he has had over them. I mean, when you consider the 7 games for which he dressed last year, his 2-game numbers this year are superior. And that has something to do, or a lot to do, I think, with the fact that even when Kian returned, I don't think he was 100%. And what we're seeing now is extraordinary, but I'm not totally surprised to see Kian doing what he's doing.
Why?
Just because of his talent. I think the only asterisk that one has had to apply to his name has been as a result of injuries. And you look at 2024, his first year collaborating with Trevor Harris right out of the gate, because Kian missed the start of 2023 after undergoing surgery, and him and Trevor were off to such a good start that year. They had the 2-touchdown connection in Hamilton when the Riders won in week 2 and in 2024, and you could see that kind of year brewing. And then last year, Kian got hurt early in the season opener. This is, this more closely resembles the kind of start they were off to in 2024. I mean, Kian's got the Riders tied for the 5th best receiving total over. How do I explain this? He's got 295 yards over 2 games. The 5th best total in Rider history over 3 games is 295. So by Naaman Roosevelt in 2016. So that's he's playing with a full game of house money here.
You get to see him quite often. We've had him on the show a couple times. Who does he remind you of from maybe Riders in the past?
That's a really interesting one. Because of his size, what he can do physically. I mean, he's not a bruiser like, say, Ray Algard, but maybe fans a generation back would remember Curtis Marsh. And Curtis Marsh just had every tool you could think of. He had size, he had strength, he had speed, he had hands. And I look at Kian Schaefer-Baker, 6'4", and you've seen him carry tacklers, you've seen him elude them, and that 5-tool skill set that Curtis Marsh really possessed, that Derek Armstrong possessed not long after that, 2001 to 2001, 2002 with the Riders. I think that's the closest comparator I can think of off the top of my head. After the segment's over, I'll come up with 14 others and just call in. Those would be the good answers.
After 2 games, Riders 7 penalties, 49 yards. I'm wondering, it seems that they're somewhat playing discipline. Is that true with their numbers after 2 games?
Yeah, those numbers are fine. The ideal number is always 0, and there were some blips against Calgary where Riders got called for procedure no end on a nice run by Thomas Bertrand Houdon that got called back. Situations such as that, but the Riders haven't had the kind of penalty totals that are going to get you into trouble. And by and large, when there have been penalties, they've been able to overcome them, and we're not seeing the double-digit type things that were really plaguing this team, say 2022 especially.
The one guy that I made notes of here, and I really like, and I'm looking at his stat line, 7 defensive tackles on Saturday in Calgary. I really like how Josh Woods, Rob. What do you know about him, or what can you tell us about him and where he is after 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Woods played against the Riders in the 2025 Western Final. He saw the other end of this Rider juggernaut, as did James Letcher Jr., who was with Montreal last year. There hasn't been. He's not an overly flashy player, but he's really efficient. 7 tackles, as you noted last week, 1 tackle for a loss, and that's not an easy spot to walk into when you consider that where AJ Allen set the bar last year. And you have to consider, though, at the start of last year, that was CJ Avery's starting job, an American linebacker, and he was off to a roaring start in the season opener against Ottawa, and then got hurt. That opened the door for AJ Allen, and we saw how terrifically he played last year. But Josh Woods has come in, and I think he's only going to get better as he gets more accustomed to this system. The linebacking core as a whole, with Woods and Jameer Thurman, who has 11, 8, and 8 tackles in his last 3 games. And Antoine Brooks Jr. has been a machine ever since he took over in October last year. So that linebacking core, I think, as a whole is strong. And we've seen the flashy plays from Jameer Thurman and from Antoine Brooks Jr. We're seeing the efficiency of Josh Woods, and I think that's going to translate into a lot more as he familiarizes himself even more with the system.
If I was going to ask you, who's the most underrated defensive back in the CFL, would you have a name for me?
I'm going to nominate one from here, and I can't pretend to be as well versed in the personnel of the other teams, but DeMarcus Fields has started every game since he joined the Riders, and that was in 2024.
The reason I asked you got the answer correctly, because yesterday, Coach
my
Bell,
prize? Go get a Western pizza.
Candy. We got something for Candy.
Generous amount of toppings, please.
Because Coach Bell was on the program yesterday on the Coaches Show, and he said he thinks he's the most underrated defensive back in the CFL.
It's tough when you look at that secondary, and Tavon Campbell was an all CFL player last year. Marcus Sales plays the other corner. Roland Milligan Jr. is who he is. That is such a star-studded secondary, and it's easy to kind of get lost in terms of the attention when you've got players doing what they're doing. But DeMarcus Fields has been the common denominator for every game the Riders have played under Corey Mace as a head coach. And, we've seen the success of this team has had. We're looking at the pick that he had last year against Winnipeg, for those of you following on TV. How old do I sound by saying TV? Anyway.
Let's not get into TV talk again, because then we're going to be here for 15 minutes. Curtis wants to get into that.
Looking at the visuals, I mean, DeMarcus Fields had such an immense impact on that game in Winnipeg last year. And he's just consistent. He's steady. It's not easy to play defensive halfback in the Canadian Football League. Receivers have a running start. And that's one of the more challenging positions to play in professional football when you consider what is expected of that player in this league with this size of field and with the motion. Yeah. And I think he deserves a lot more publicity. Maybe it's my fault. I should write about him more often.
Speaking of difficult, what's difficult is being thrown in to any kind of activity, sport, whatever, when you've only been with a team for 72 hours. Jonathan Edward, we're gonna have an interview with him coming up here in a bit. But I don't know what the record is for shortest stint with the team before being tossed into action. But guys put in a spot to get in.
Yeah, and that's a tough turnaround. But that's the kind of professionalism that's expected. That's the kind of evaluation that is made before a player even lands at the airport. So taking that into consideration. And everything turned out fine, because I think a lot goes into the due diligence that precedes a player even arriving here.
Can you stay with us after the commercial? We want to reveal the jerseys that you guys just sent out. On the TV, on the stream. On the TV.
Is this an old Philco with what time is Ed Sullivan on?
It's good. Laughing? Rocking tonight.
Suck it to me. I want to watch Laughing.
Rob Vanstone is going to stay with us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. If you are watching the stream, we are going to We are going to come back. It's okay. YouTube, right? Through sportscage.com. We are going to show you the jerseys the Riders will be wearing this. And they just dropped an interesting little tidbit about those jerseys in the game coming up. The whiteout conditions ahead of the Prairie Blizzard. Okay, Rob's going to stay with us. We'll be right back. It's the Sports Cage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Tuesday edition of the Sports Cage. Rob Vanstone is joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza. Generous amount of
toppings. Do I get a commission?
We'll give you a slice. Next time you're in, we'll order some Westerns. Maybe we'll go around the horn. Okay, we teased this. I haven't seen them yet. I've saw the tease release or whatever was going out there, but coming up this weekend, Toronto's coming into town for technically their home game in the whole FIFA world that we're living in. It's the Prairie Blizzard jerseys. All right, Curtis, you have them loaded up. Can you?
Are we gonna see them on TV?
They're there. If you have a black and white, they won't make much sense to you. But if you got a color TV, you're in luck. Okay, so if you're listening on the radio, they're white. Oh, those white numbers, I can hear the broadcasters already screaming at the TV. They're a sharp. I love those helmets. That's a sharp looking lid right there. White pants, slacks, whatever. They got a white jersey, white number with a green outline, but the white number kind of pops out a bit, and then some green on the shoulders, and then a nice green helmet. And Rob, this is I was reading the release that came down from the Riders, and to commemorate the occasion, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be giving away the game-worn jerseys in a special Jerseys Off Our Back promotion after the game is over. Only fans in attendance will be eligible to win the jerseys, which will be handed off to them by the players themselves at the conclusion of the game. I know I've seen this in hockey. I don't think I've ever seen it in football.
I'm trying to think. Like the Regina Pats, for example, have done this routinely. I can't think of a precedent here. If so, if there is one, please correct me. I go back to 2010 when the Riders introduced that retro jersey for a game against Edmonton and the red and black look. And my godson, Eric Anderson, said to me at the time, Rob, is there a contest where I can maybe, enter and possibly win one of these jerseys? And he kept referring to contest. And I said, look, you want me to buy you one, don't you? And he goes, yeah. So I just hope I don't hear the word contest in the next little while, because I'll have to go for another financial assessment.
Fans, it says here, fans can also purchase a selection of Prairie Blizzard inspired merchandise beginning June 23rd. That's today. The collection includes a polo shirt, t-shirt, hat, and mini helmet. All fans are asked to wear white Friday. That makes sense. The whiteout. Top overalls. Little known trick we used to caddy for each other at golf tournaments once in a while. The paint stores used to sell you those real cheap white overalls. I don't know if that's still the case, but I know some of you out there. There you go.
That's what I wore to grad.
I knew something was coming like that. So.
Overall, it wasn't a good look.
Oh, Rob Vanstone.
Well, I'm looking forward to checking these out in the store. I'm going to have to avail myself of the opportunity to acquire more rider garb.
Yeah.
I love walking around the store, and perhaps I do that too often, but they haven't evicted me yet. So I'm about to pick up my new Joey Walters jersey, so I'm thrilled about that.
I'm a big polo shirt guy, so I like the sounds of that, and curious to see the hats. But everything is at the Rider store as of today. So get in there and check that out. Okay, back to players. And we just heard from him at the start of the show. We had a little one-on-one, and I think you were waiting online when we were doing that. Malcolm Bell, I got to tell you, this guy is full of P and V, and he's here to play. He said that kind of from, I think, the end of camp, but he got pushed in kind of game one, and he mentioned in the interview, it's like, be ready to play, and it was kind of like that old backup goalie, or whatever. But then you're in, and then this game, like he was ready to go. He wanted to be in there. I think, from all accounts, you get to see him a lot more than we do and talk to him, Rob. We got something special there.
I really think that's the case. That's a really tough situation to be thrown into. 2 games in a row, the Rough Riders have had to alter their secondary mid-game against a prolific passer. First Nathan Rourke, and subsequently Vernon Adams Jr. And that's not an easy adjustment to make against anybody, but especially against 2 of the premier quarterbacks in the league. And when you're talking about a rookie defensive back as well, in the case of Malcolm Bell. But I was in the draft room when the pick was made, and there was no debate when he was there and the Riders picked number 9. It was, yes, let's pick Malcolm Bell, and Rob, will you please leave the room? So.
Is that that says a lot, right? When everybody is like, no, that there's no debate here. That's the guy. That says enough right there.
Yeah, and it's you look at his versatility. You look at where he has played collegiately. Corey Mace, Trevor Harris. They like to use phrases like something along the lines of, the lights aren't too bright for him, the moment isn't too big for him. And when you've played that level of college football, you can make that transition to, I think, just the scrutiny and the pressure that much more quickly. It's been tough for this defensive backfield. Week 1, Roland Milligan Jr. goes down, then Juju Hughes, and I talked earlier about how tough that defensive halfback position is to play in this league. So, add that as a factor that Malcolm Bell was going to have to face coming in. Marcus Sales moved inside. Malcolm Bell moved to the corner. Marcus Sales, playing an unaccustomed position, had a big pass knockdown in that game. And, look at what Jackson Ford has done so far this season, etc. Nelson Lacombo in week 1 switching positions after Roland Milligan Jr. went down.
What can you tell us? We don't know what's going to happen with AJ Ouellette. Sounds like he was left out today, just didn't finish the game, obviously, on Saturday. What can you tell us, or what do you know about running back Quali Conley?
I really like what I saw of him, albeit briefly. He signed with the team during camp and showed that he's a really aggressive runner, hits the hole hard. We saw that, I think, in the preseason game against Winnipeg. And I know how high the organization was on Mario Anderson Jr., who was AJ Ouellette's understudy for most of last year. So the fact that he beat out Mario Anderson Jr., I think, speaks highly of his abilities. Just and he's got the elusiveness, he's got the power, and that's a pretty important component when you look at the type of running style that the Rough Riders like to have. Obviously, AJ Ouellette is the prototype. Thomas Bertrand Houdon carries himself comparably on the field. I think Quali Conley is also of that mindset. He can punish you or he can run away from you.
Speaking of prolific passers that you just mentioned in the comment before, we got Chad Kelly coming in here. He puts up 424 yards against the Red Blacks last week, 4 touchdowns. He did throw 4 picks, though, but another guy coming in that can sling the ball. He's seen a lot of defenses. There's going to be anything new, and with that defensive backfield, maybe with guys in and out, they'll have to be on their toes because it's a guy that can sling it.
Yeah, if you look around the league, the way the quarterbacking landscape is there's really no easy outs when you look at any of the teams or any of the quarterbacks. And Chad Kelly has shown that despite missing a seemingly endless amount of football, he came back and it showed his mobility right off the bat. And we're seeing I think the last game he played, there were almost as many picks as there were incompletions. There generally the ball was on target and was catchable. I mean, even with those interceptions, he had a pretty good game. Using, again, you have to insert a bit of a qualifier when there are interceptions, but he also made a ton of plays. And I think the Argos are sneaky good this year. And Chad Kelly, we'll never know how. I mean, they won a Grey Cup without him in 2024, but there's such an upside, and I'm not sure if can really assess it yet because it's so early in the season. But this Toronto team with Chad Kelly, they can present quite the challenge.
I know you know that I like to sprinkle, and I like to I'm not getting into gambling with you here or betting or lines or anything like that, but I gotta tell you, the lowest scoring game this weekend had 61 points, and it was in that monsoon in Edmonton, which I was wrong. I took the under 50. I thought that would have been a safe bet, but the scoring, we got 68 points, 77 points in the Rider game. They keep setting these lines at 50 for over-unders. I'm thinking we're going to start seeing lines and over-unders of 65 in this league. But wow, the league, I don't know if there's a stat, Rob, or any data or anything that you looked into, but I look at the first 3 weeks of the season and scoring seems to me at an all-time high.
One thing I've been meaning to look at and haven't yet, so that's of no benefit to you or your listeners or your viewers on TV, but the pace of play with the new 35-second clock. You're not seeing a minute of real time between plays anymore, and I am curious, as to the extent to which the amount of plays has increased. I'm presuming it has, but I haven't looked and done a comparison. The one thing that's deterred me is we're still not so far into the season that I'm not sure there's a representative sample there number-wise, but it just seems like the pace of play, and it's always brisk in the last 3 minutes, as we've seen, but for the 57 minutes leading up to that, I just wonder if we're seeing more plays, which leads to more offense. I think we're seeing just the way the game is played. I think it just kind of breeds that a mindset of urgency. And I think that might account for the manner in which scoring has been up. And all the quarterbacks have just been, by and large, really, really good so far this year. And we're seeing one here in Trevor Harris.
Like you said, there isn't a lot of easy outs when it comes to. Oh, we do have a question. We have a question here on the text line. When is the 35-second clock supposed to start? Have you noticed that it doesn't seem to start when the whistle is blown? Using up 32, flip to watch the game. There's usually 10 seconds after a 30-second flip. Gerald's asked you a question. I kind of noticed that on one of the plays, actually, because I was watching, and I was like, isn't the clock supposed to start here? But I don't know if you know anything there.
Yeah, I haven't paid, honestly, that close of attention to it. I just know that there does seem to be a greater rush to get behind center and get the play in and get the play called. I think it's undeniable that in those stages before the final 3 minutes, the offenses have to be on a bit of fast forward, and maybe it was 33 and a third before. Now it's 45. There's another archaic reference: RPMs. I am determined to make this the
throwback.
It's the 100th anniversary of CKRM, so I'm trying to take us back to 1926.
For sure. Let's do it. Okay.
Can we listen to some Louis Armstrong, please?
Before I let you go, as a sports guy, I got to ask you a couple of things. Comments on Mike Babcock coaching the Edmonton Oilers.
I look at what I think Mike Babcock handled the media conference well today. I remember dealing with Mike when he was with the Moose Jaw Warriors, and that was his first major junior coaching job. I can't believe that's more than 30 years ago. I think the fact that the key leaders on that team have pushed for it and signed off on it, that could have been a non-discussion had Connor McDavid, had Leon Draisaitl, had Zach Hyman voiced any objections. And Zach played for Mike Babcock in Toronto, so there's no real mystery. So, so far so good. I've seen. We'll see how this materializes in October, but he's a brilliant hockey mind, and he's going to be tough on those players. And this is what they've wanted. This is what they've been clamoring for, according to the reports out of Edmonton and everything that's been said and disseminated. It'll be really interesting to watch that team October, November. I hope they take it easy on the Jets. Real interesting.
Do you think Hellebuck's gone?
When you start hearing the rumblings and the draft is coming up, and we've seen the Brady Tkachuk move in Ottawa, we've seen where American players on Canadian teams have tended to go lately. You start to wonder, and Connor Hellebuck's a 33-year-old goalie on a team that was an older team last year and didn't ascend anywhere near to the heights it did the year before. So, but they're in a bit of a catch-22 because they've also got a 33-year-old player named Mark Scheifele who's just about to start, who's in the early stages of a long contract as well. He's coming off his first 100-point year. So how do you, if you trade Connor Hellebuck, if it's going to be the same type of return to say that Ottawa got? Well, the draft picks don't do you a lot of good when you're trying to make sure that you maximize the remaining years of Josh Morrissey's prime years, the remaining years of Mark Scheifele, the remaining years of Kyle Connor. They're in a really tough situation there because they can't just say, okay, we're going to go young, because you've got Mark Scheifele, you've got Kyle Connor, you've got Josh Morrissey, and they're still very good players. So who plays goal if it's not Connor Hellebuck? Sergei Bobrovsky, anybody?
How's that?
Marty Shinkaruk?
Swab. No, I'm not. Once I played goal, tore a groin as a joke. I was like, this ain't for me. Kay, really appreciate all your time as per usual. This was a lot of fun doing this on Tuesday. I think if this was the end of the show, if this was the end of the TV show, we could play the Canadian anthem, and then it would just go to color bars. Like back in the day.
I remember color bars when, the first time we got a color TV. I used to go next door to our neighbors, the Kleckners, on Acadia Drive, because they had a color TV. And I'd only seen the color bars in black and white. And then suddenly I went over there and it was like, this is just absolute. Yogi Bear and the Partridge Family in color. Like, it's amazing. I'm just looking forward to seeing where technology can go as we get into the 70s and 80s now.
How did you make that TV dinner so quick? We have a microwave. What? A micro what? I remember. Oh, that was. We could go on and on and on and on. Next time, come into studio so you can just stay. Bring candy.
I'll bring candy along, and I'll appear in black and white. It's closer to my complexion anyway. So.
There you go. Curtis is playing the anthem. We got to go. Okay. See you, Rob. Thanks for doing this.
Tune in tomorrow. Thanks, Barney.
Rider historian Rob Vanstone joining us. Anybody born, 1980 and before 1980 remembers that at the end of the day on a TV station. There was an all-night broadcast. They played the anthem, and then it went to the color bars. That was it. There was nothing going on after midnight. We lived through it. Those were the days. It's SportsCage streaming through our TV channel, also known as our YouTube channel at sportscage.com.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Rent a water heater and water softener starting at about $1.20 a day and get $400 when you switch to Reliance Heath.
Okay, if you missed it, Coach Mace gave us an update. AJ Ouellette, day off today. Going to reevaluate things later in the week. News not that great for Juju Hughes. He's going to be out for a while. Lower body injury. Speculation on the text line is Achilles. I tend to agree there. The Riders brought back James Burgess Jr., defensive back today, rejoins the Riders. He was here training camp this season. It's official and it's real. Mike Babcock's coaching again in the National Hockey League with the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to hear from Colby Armstrong coming up in hour 2. We'll talk about that big basketball trade. Giannis dealt from the Bucks to Miami. You got like 4 players, 3 first-round picks, so picking a swap, a second-rounder. The draft goes tonight. We need Colson here to talk basketball. Western Canadian Baseball League. Tonight, Red Sox are in Moose Jaw, and Swift Current welcomes Sylvan Lake. Major League Baseball, Blue Jays, and Houston. That one's just wrapping up. We'll get you a score in hour 2. Portugal, 5 rip over Uzbekistan. England and Ghana, 0-0 late. They're into injury time now. Panama, Croatia tonight. Colombia, Congo. That is the sports ticker for Reliance Heath in hour 1. Hour 2 is coming up. Like I said, Colby, Armstrong, and more from Ryder Camp. We'll be back after the news. All right, back hour 2. That was good. Robbie Vanstone. Lots of fun with him on Tuesdays. What a wealth of knowledge. Boom, boom. Knows this, knows that. Everything. Could be a regular thing, although I'm not here next week. Whoever's in this chair can talk to Robbie. Prairieland Rentals text line 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals, 600 Albert Street. Deal with the owner. They have robots that can cut your lawn from Husqvarna right now, and there's deals on them. There's still a few left. Yes, text line. We are going to talk about Babcock and hockey, and we're going to get back into Ryder stuff. Yesterday, or when was it? When was the Brady Tkachuk thing? Couple of things on the Brady Tkachuk thing.
Yesterday, yeah.
The Wolf, our sister station down the hall, good fellows most of the time. They put out that short that went absolutely viral. I had people sending it to me from down east. One buddy from Georgia sent it up to me. It's, again, let's go back. Curtis, have you ever seen the movie The Goonies?
Yeah, I have seen The Goonies.
The Goonies is an unreal.
Everyone always makes the comparison that Brady Tkachuk looks like the guy from The Goonies.
Sloth.
Sloth?
I was going to say Chunk. Chunk's the guy. So are you going to play it, or do you want me to describe it? Can you play it? I don't want to get us in trouble or anything, but it's so funny because we'll tee it up. Are you going to play it? Just give me the nod, because then I'll tee it up and then you can play it.
I don't have the clip. You didn't let me know. I would have downloaded it.
It's at the end of Goonies.
I'm going to take care of you now.
When they come out of the cave, One-Eyed Willie, the jewels and everything.
It's been a while since I've watched that movie. My parents had it on VHS, so have to dust that bad boy off to put that in. The Goonies.
What year? I'm going to say 80.
When The Goonies came out?
5.
The Goonies
84?
came out in 1985, yeah.
85, yes. Love playing weird games by myself.
It's Sean Astin.
No idea who that is. Is he Sloth?
No, he's like one of the kids in it, but he's in the Lord of the Rings. He is.
I remember the Oriental kid, the Asian kid. It was like a genius, and he had the trench coat, and then the boxing glove came out and punched. Now that I'm kind of going back, but the Wolf clip is after the trade yesterday, and it has Chunk from the Goonies as Matthew Tkachuk, and it's him saying, "You're gonna come live with me now. I'm gonna take care of you," and then it goes to Sloth. It says Brady.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
I just can't. That's so good. And I love that it went viral. But as for the trade, who am I? I don't know what show it would have been to not be I told you so guy. But we go back, and I just asked one of our NHL guests a little while ago, how much longer is Brady in Ottawa? Like, it was literally weeks ago, because I'm like, he's got to want out. Obviously, he would want to go play with his brother, but he just wanted out. Now, when we have Colby Armstrong on at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to ask him how long before Hellebuck is out of Winnipeg. Maybe.
Weak.
How long before Austin Matthews is out of Toronto?
They're all weak.
Why?
Can't handle the Canadian markets, huh?
Explain more. Handle what?
Man, it's just like all these players that want out of these teams and want to go play in like Vegas or somewhere else. It's like, oh man, really?
If somebody offered you to do the exact same job in Kelowna, maybe even paid you a little bit more, would you stay at the corner of 12th and Rose in Regina? And they said, Curtis, we are going to give you 5-year guarantee. We're going to pay you a little bit more. You're going to make a little bit more. Here's a postcard of what Kelowna looks like. Would you go?
Probably. I've lived in
Enough
Kelowna.
said.
It's nice.
Enough said. So therein lies the same. And people can say it's not the same. It is. It is. No offense to people that live in the Paw. Never been there. I equated it to a buddy moving from getting a job in Kelowna from the Paw, Winnipeg to Miami, wherever. It's the same. We would all, you cannot say, you can't be hypocritical because we'd all do the same thing. If someone said, hey, Barney, we got a sales job for you in Scottsdale, and you get to talk on a microphone 3 hours a day, 4 days a week, whatever, and probably going to pay a little bit better. Bring your wife down. Kind of sure.
A little bit more golfing opportunities there, eh?
I don't even know how fast I could pack.
Jeez.
There'd be a lot of things I would just leave behind. I'm not being hypocritical. Like, Brady Tkachuk was never going to stay in Ottawa. Like, who really thought that? I don't understand how people can honestly think that was going to... Just like I really... I can't believe Connor McDavid signed this 2-year, it's 2-year, kicking in this year. Like, some people honestly think Connor McDavid is going to sign another long-term deal after this in Edmonton.
I think only if they can make it happen. They can win the cup in Edmonton. If not, I think he's out. That's even a
better way to go out. Here, I left you guys with another one. Put up the City of Champions sign again and on the wood sign when you drive in. From Vigorville.
There is something to be said, though, about kind of like if you're like a star player of a franchise and being the guy. Brady Tkachuk is not the guy in Florida. You know what I mean? Matthew is. So if you're stripping the C off your chest and you're coming and playing with your brother, like, yeah, that's great and all, but like, you're not the guy.
There's something to be said about not being the guy.
Taking a little pressure off.
Oh, fly under the radar. Mitch Marner, I watched the interview they had during the playoffs where he was like, this is great. Look, they were doing the interview while him and his wife were walking through their community in Henderson, Nevada, pushing their stroller with their newborn. And he's like, I can't even tell you how much less the pressure is off. Like, this is just great. We love it. Everything about... There's something to be said. I think...
Teach their own.
Some guys would maybe want to be the guy for a while. I think that has to eventually wear off.
Probably.
Bert on the Prairie Land Rentals text lines trying to get political in it. They simply don't like Canada. They love Donald Trump. Bert Wilson. Yeah, and if you're an American, that's the word out there right now on NHL shows. We can ask Colby about it. These Canadian teams have to stop drafting American players. Will they? I don't know.
Are we going to go back to the old school rules where only French Canadian players can play in Montreal, or just like only like Olympic style, only Canadians on Canadian teams and only Americans on American teams?
Well, there'd be a lot of guys that would the NHL go to the NHLPA like ASAP, being like, what? It just makes sense. And then you add the no state tax thing in for a lot of these teams that are playing in very sexy markets. And then it even makes it worse. Yeah, Washington State, no state tax. Not the same as Florida, Nevada, Nashville. What are the other ones? Texas, Dallas. Oh, kid, like I can't sit here and be hypocritical. That boat left me a long time ago, where I was like, you got to play here. You got to be loyal. Ugh. When's the last time a company was like, no, that's not how it works. You got to look out for one. Like every athlete, you've heard it a million times when they speak. Got to take care of my family. Got to take care of my family. Yeah. Do it. Yeah, James, exactly. Florida, different tax laws. Look up, everybody, Google states that you don't pay state tax in. And I know there's some sort of you pay tax where it's good. It's called a jock tax or something. You pay tax kind of where you perform, like a performer. But then it's you got to get accounting. You got to get like a professional athlete account onto it. So there's some tax that you do pay when you play on the road, but your home base and the majority. It's great. Yeah, Ed, good point on the text line. Soon to be Houston. That's the talk of expansion in Houston. What's Houston's like the 5th biggest city, I want to say, in the United States. I remember going there for the Super Bowl and I had no idea how big it was, and I was like, wow.
Hold up, I'll figure it out.
They had the Houston Aeros for a long time. I want to, is it 5th? I was right on the Goonies, 1985.
Biggest cities. Houston is 4, actually.
4.
2.3 million.
In the 4-hole, Houston.
So New York is number 1, LA is number 2, Chicago number 3, and then Phoenix is 5. Philly 6, San Antonio 7, San Diego's 8.
San Antonio 7?
Yeah, 1.5 million.
That's a great city.
San Diego's 1.4, Dallas 1.3, Jacksonville 1 milli. And if you're interested in the metro areas, New York Metro is 20 million, LA Metro is 13.
You ever been to New York?
I've never been to New York. It's on the bucket list.
It's a great visit.
Yeah.
Don't cheap out. That's my only advice when you go to New York. Like it'd be like, I remember the first time I went, like my brother-in-law, kind of cheap. And he was like, we stayed in Hoboken, New Jersey. We like drove in and took the subway, and I was like,
You're telling me to go to the Ritz-Carlton?
No, but there's some decent priced places around Madison Square, kind of down from Times Square. You got to go though. You got and go with enough days.
It is on the bucket list.
Little Italy, Chinatown.
I did look into it recently because was doing a little bit of research for like going to a concert,
yeah.
And it was cheaper to go to London and Europe.
Yep.
For longer, but it was cheaper to go shorter in New York. But you're saying I should stay longer?
Yeah, you got to take it all in. If you're you know what? Hop on a train and go into Boston. Like there's Amtrak's that run like almost on the hour. Maybe it's a little aggressive, but you can get into Boston. Tour that. Don't drive. Do not rent a vehicle on the Eastern Seaboard.
I don't need to go on any of those freeways.
Do not.
They're a little bit nutty.
I got to get back into this Express Wrestling V2 text line with the Rob Vanstone thing. He said, I was born in 97. Still remember that as a kid in the early 2000s on CTV. He's talking about how we used to, at midnight, when the broadcast day was done, they played the anthem, they showed the video, the anthem, everyone felt patriotic, and then it went to the color bars. And he says, it scared me, that beeping noise. It was. It's like watching, it's like you're accidentally home alone and you're like 8, 9, 10 years old, and you forget that it's Unsolved Mysteries night, and that intro came on and Robert Stack's voice, and that was terrifying. So many.
Sounds terrifying.
936-6262 Paradigm Rentals text line if you want to get in. Back to the Riders here. Jonathan Edward, one-on-one. Here we go with Dave Thomas. He was kicked into the fire, so to speak, with Juju Hughes going down. He was into the game with only 72 hours of boots on the ground with the Riders. Here's Dave and Edward.
Were you worried or not worried? What was your thoughts? What went through your mind?
Well, coming from a program where I started with Joshua Bell, we have the mindset of next man up, and we're begging for them to throw the ball our way. We're begging for them to choose us. So I was very sad that it was my guy Juju. I, known him for 72 hours before that happened, but it's my guy for life. So I was really sad when it happened, but hearing the thought of my name being called, I was really excited to maybe get that possibility and just want to do whatever I can for my teammates.
So you mentioned Coach Bell. Obviously, you're familiar with the system that he's employing. How much of a head start has that given you trying to digest the playbook and get on the same page as everyone?
Tremendous head start. Tremendous head start. So I'm just glad to see that the system has gone further than when I originally started in it, and just trying to do everything I can to get up to speed, but I am.
There's a lot of communication that's happening with the secondary right now. How much is that helping? And tell me about the relationship you're developing.
Well, I have a serious relationship with these guys. You might know we all live at Regina and we live in the dorms together. So every day since I've been here, we hang out, we watch film probably about 12 hours a day. So it's been a privilege to come in and see the standard that these guys play to, and I'm happy to get in and try to do it the same way they are.
Halfback, are you okay with that position? Where do you want to play?
I like to play them all. So coming from Carleton University, I got to play, as an American going to Carleton University, I got to play boundary corner, boundary half, free safety. So boundary half is one I also played. I played all of them, so I'm just happy to get in there.
And when it goes to playing half, again, your speed is very evident if you're playing a corner position. How do your eyes react when playing the halfback spot?
Well, luckily, like I said, I've been in Canada for 10 years, so it's very natural. So sometimes as coming in as a natural corner, I know the half's job so well that now playing the half that I'm like, I'm going to do this for him. So so it's kind of like helping yourself in a way.
Obviously, your eyes aren't wide open when it comes to the Canadian Football League, but you're going up against a quarterback that has put up a lot of yards and can be very dangerous. What do we need to do to be successful against Chad Kelly and the Argos offense?
We just need to stay disciplined. I've been with Chad 4 or 5 years, and Chad is a great quarterback, great dude. We just got to stay sound, stay disciplined, and do our job to our best abilities, and we'll prevail.
Lastly, how excited are you to play in this stadium?
Oh, so excited. Every time I've come past tense, Grey Cup 2022 or on an away game, we've always been, loving this stadium. This stadium in Winnipeg Stadium is one of those games where you come and the fans are going to be hyped. So I just can't wait for them to be cheering with me rather than against me.
The SportsCage Clutch Performer for Keln Solar. Thinking about saving money by using solar power? Keln Solar is a local family company that can put solar panels on your home, business, or farm. KelnSolar.com.
Clutch performer, whoever the goalie was in today's for Uzbekistan. I didn't look it up. They lose 5-0 to Portugal. Poor guy. Kicked to the Wolves. There hasn't been a lot of blowouts in the World Cup. I haven't that I haven't seen. You wanted to give a clutch performer to Brady Tkachuk?
Clutch performer to Brady Tkachuk for making the same amount of money in a nice warmer state. Gets to play with his brother.
But you said you were sick of guys doing this.
I am.
Yeah, no, you stay here. We own you.
You know what? To be honest, if a guy doesn't want to be around anymore, I'm sure that's like a locker room thing. Do you really... I'm kind of coming around on it. It's do you really want the guy that's you're a leader in the locker room that's thinking 1 foot out the door the whole time? It's just leave.
It's like a relationship.
Just leave.
Right? I also want to give one to Jonathan Edward, Saskatchewan Roughriders. You didn't even have a picture of him in a Rider jersey.
Yeah, I was laughing a little bit.
He was here for less than 72 hours. He's put into the game. Just that whole defensive backfield doing a job. Short man. And my last one, we haven't heard from him. It was the Jeffrey Bowl. The Riders went. I guess he was blocked on YouTube somehow, some way. So we haven't been able to even hear from him. We're hoping the monitor takes it off. But because I was we haven't heard from Jeffrey today. But I'm sure he took it like a champ. You win some, you lose some. Jeffrey.
Do you want me to play the Jeffrey Bowl intro?
Nope. We're good. Clutch performer for Kellen Solar.
Dude, why not?
Lumsden, Saskatchewan.
I made it for the stream.
Are you thinking about a little solar, maybe some panels, save some money? Family-run company in Lumsden, Saskatchewan, also helping out for the livestock operations out there. Kellen Solar, look them up online, find them. Again, locally owned and run. Okay, we got to get sprinkle of the day quick. Out of it, I posted it on SportsCage.com. I think they posted it. I took it on the chinny chin. Another golf major. I had Wyndham Clark as a top 5 finish, but when you look at everything that didn't come in, for after day 2, I was like, this could be all right. All these...
You've been taking it on the chin a lot when it comes to a lot of these bets you've been making.
Nope. Just golf. And the last Stanley Cup game, other than that, it's been a nice little run. And I've been hitting the overs on CFL football because every game's like 80 to 90 points.
So where do you want to go on Sprinkle the Day? You want Canada, Switzerland, or... Let me know what you're thinking.
At some of the futures here. NBA draft, that starts tonight. I have no idea anything about that. We got, let's go to Grey Cup odds. I haven't looked at these in a while.
Grey Cup odds.
You can bet them, sportselect.com. Generate a QR code. Montreal Alouettes, still the favorite. 365. Followed by now... the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, the value was when, what was it, 7-1 at the beginning of the season?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you should have sprinkled earlier if you haven't.
Maybe I did.
Did you?
Maybe I did. Then the BC Lions, 575. Hamilton Tiger Cats, 650. Toronto. Is there some value in Toronto, I wonder? There could be some value in... there could be value in everybody except Ottawa.
What are you talking about? It's 24-1.
I'm going to Ottawa Friday. I'm just going to walk around. I'm going to walk around and ask people about the Brady Tkachuk thing and about their football team.
Yeah, it's a terrible day to be an Ottawa sports fan. Hey.
Yeah. Sportselect.com under futures. You can go find baseball, Italian Open, WNBA, soccer, rugby. It's crazy how many things you can bet on sportselect.com. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Chance of winning cash in hand. Okay, let's go to break, and then hopefully when we come back, we're going to be joined by Sasky, gentleman, legend out there now in the podcast and hockey world, Colby Armstrong. It's the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. It's for Saskatchewan Lottery's main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. Get out there, the Rider 50/50 scratch and win ticket. $75,000 up for grabs. 10-year season tickets, a whole lot more at your Lotto Spot retailer. Western Pizza guest hotline. Who doesn't like a Western wheel on a Tuesday, a rainy Tuesday? Pickup or delivery. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Joining us once again on the program. We had his brother here 2 weeks ago. The legend, Colby Armstrong. Nice to see you, my friend.
What's up, Barn? How you doing, buddy? Good to be with you. What's up, Sasky? How's she going out there? How's it been out there? Is it good right now? I was sitting at, where the heck was I? I showed up at a buddy's house here in Pittsburgh where I live right now, but I showed up and he had Stampeders versus Rough Riders game on his TV down here. It was on. It was sick. I was like, okay, let's go. I was trying to see if I recognized anybody. I don't know. You know how you just do that? I'm like, maybe I'll see someone. I don't know.
Yeah,
in the stands.
For sure. Did you just start watering for a Pilsner?
Yeah. I was wondering, like, it's been a long time since I've been to a Riders game. I've got to go to one. I haven't followed closely, but I've got Lauren Goldenberg down here. He's a Pittsburgh guy too. He's from Ottawa originally, one of the big strength coaches. National League NHL history. Brought Gary Roberts back from the broken neck and retirement and the whole deal. And has been in the game a long time, but he trains a lot of CFL guys. So he's always on me to watch CFL, and I'm a loser if I don't watch CFL, and he just beats me down about it. So I can tell him I watched the Riders against Stampeders the other night.
Exactly. You're a busy guy. Okay, let's Let's start with the initial thoughts. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago or whatever when you heard that Mike Babcock was maybe coming back into the NHL and the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, I said on my pod, like, I know, like, I'm buddies with Commie, like Commodore, pretty outward hatred publicly towards Babcock. And I understand that. And I understand other people that I've talked to who feel the same way about him. Like a lot of guys that have had him feel the same way about him. Now, I understand like what happened, and the review was done and with the PA and with the league. And so that's good, right? He was brought in front of everyone here today. And there's stuff that have come of that too from his press conference, right? Like he didn't show like any apologies towards it or anything. And Mike Babcock will do what Mike Babcock does, right? But like, at what point does he not get like, in my opinion, like what point does he not get like another chance? You know, like how he's been out of the game for how long? You know, he's been away. You hope he can reflect and be better at dealing with situations or people or, you know, I don't know what did we call that? Do we call that bullying? Was that bullying? I guess in a sense.
You that's blanketed now. You can throw it out anywhere. Yeah. Butting in front of the line at the Sutherland is now bullying back in the day, right?
Yeah, like it's going to be a problem. Like he's going to Edmonton too. Like, I mean, you know, you go somewhere and like if he went down to, you know, Anaheim, you know, Quenneville, he goes down there and it's just a little different. So he's going into a pretty hot situation, I think, with a team that, you know, has taken a step back and, you know, there's lots of attention around it and you're under the microscope. And so it makes it even more so, I think, you know, with this situation. But I just think like, okay, they've done their due diligence, I guess you could say, with the review. And it's like, at what point does someone not like him or not, hate him, whatever? I never had him. I barely know him, but it's like, how do you not get another chance to try to get in there and coach again or get a job or do what you want to do? You know, how long is the penalty?
Part of the narrative that's out there is, you know, the first liners, for lack of a better term, he treats them really well. It's the in and out of the lineup guys, the lower guys. You're really good friends, and you played with Sidney Crosby. Let's go back to when you were part of the Pens and you had Malkin and Crosby, you know, Letang, the studs. A guy comes in, well, yeah, he's going to be good to those guys, but then it's like the Talbots, the Armstrongs, maybe, that it's like it's a different set of rules and treating guys different than what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's every coach in the NHL.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Well, I mean, there's different rules for different guys, right? Like I cannot make certain plays, or I cannot do certain things, or I had to show up earlier, or I had to be first on the ice, or I had to, you know, that's just the way it is. Like, you know, that's the way it kind of works when you're in different situations. So, I mean, I think that's for everyone. I think, you know, using his situation and the allegations of going through guys' phones and trying to like keep your thumb on guys and flex the muscle, and like he's an arrogant guy. Like he's a confident, arrogant guy is Mike Babcock. But which coach in the NHL doesn't have an ego? Yeah. Which head coach, you know? And I don't know if I'm like defending him or not, but it's a little bit of it is how it works, and a little bit of it is he needs to learn and be better, no question.
You're shedding some light on it.
Like I did not like the Mitch Marner. I didn't like the Mitch Marner tactic. Like some of these tactics are brutal. You know, they're uncalled for. And you hope that a guy of, you know, with his experience and, you know, the players that he's coached and how long he's been around, like pulling this stuff, it's like you hope he can learn from it, and probably has within the situations, but time will tell. But you know, he's not in a team, and he's not in Nashville. You know, he's in a situation where, you know, he's going to be at the microphone after every game, and you know, it's going to be something that's going to be there.
If he had to answer it, and you had a chance to ask him one question, what would it be?
I think they kind of asked him like. How are you going to change or be different from the way you were? Like, what's that look like for Mike Babcock? And you're like, oh, Babs, you know, Babs would do this, and he'd refer to himself as Babs. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like grade school stuff. It's like, just treat people better. Just You don't need to stomp on guys. Like there's a lot of guys that are going through stuff in their own careers, trying to battle and stay in the league and be this and be that. And look, his job's hard. His job's to win. Like that's his job. He's not there really to be friends with everyone. I think he has to have everyone's trust that, they're going to care about him the best. And so how are you going to do that without Mike Babcock getting in the way of that? Like, can you put yourself in the back seat a little bit with regards to how you're going to, treat the team and treat people? Ultimately going for wins, yes, but at what price? You know what I mean?
Where do you land on the Golden Knights not giving Cassidy a chance, or the Oilers a chance to talk to Cassidy?
And then you get left, and then you have Mike Babcock. Yeah, it's I kind of don't mind it. Like I know people like hate them. I kind of don't mind like the cutthroat style that it is. And then on the flip side, like we've seen players come and go from there, right? Like. We've seen like they had Pacioretty there. They made a trade, so the Suzuki Pacioretty trade, and then boom, he's gone out of there when they can go get something else and try to like up their roster. Like they don't care on the flip side. And then we see players like Brady Tkachuk and his brother in years previous that have like jumped ship and said, "Hey, I want to go somewhere else." So it's funny. The players have some power. We're seeing them flex their power. These organizations and teams can operate and be cutthroat and do what they want to do. And they've done it. Other teams have done it too, but it's, I kind of don't mind that Vegas has done it and they've been good right out of the gates. And I think that bugs everybody. And to a certain degree, it's kind of crazy how good they are year to year, Barney. It's crazy.
I don't know why, Colby. And I go back to even like Dwayne Wade and what they did in Miami. And I've said, I don't know why the NHL guys aren't doing this, and guys are, because it's different, and NHL guys are different. And I'm like, it's no different than us back in the day getting the group of guys together for an adult safe team in the summer and having a blast running show at the Gemini, just with a group of buddies. Like, there's got to be those text groups and that where guys want to do this.
I think the game is so different now. Like back... Like years ago, like not as many guys knew each other as they do now. Like now they're in under 17s, under 18s, under 19s, summer bash tournament. Like even when like our kids coming up, they play with everybody at everything. They know everybody. They all have social media. They're all kind of friendly. You know what I mean? And I think that's changed a lot with the new player. And like Biz said on Chicklets, I think it came out today, or I think it was today. Like we're in like super team era of hockey. Like we're starting to get there with like players saying where they want to go and who they want to play with and what's going to happen. And I don't know if we'll totally see that, but I think players are flexing their power a little bit on the decisions of where they can go and what they want to do a little bit more with their careers than just sitting somewhere and saying, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Like maybe long gone are the Sidney Crosbys of the NHL, and we might start seeing a little bit more action that way, which how crazy has the NHL been the last number of days, even today alone. Today's been, we got a new franchise. We've got like multiple trades. This is all off the heels of Brady Tkachuk going to Florida to join his brother and the bad guys down there. It's crazy what we're seeing. It's electric. And we got the draft on Friday night and Saturday, free agency next week on Wednesday. It's like everything's happening. The NHL's wild right now.
Do you think we're going to see Canadian teams maybe shying away from drafting American kids?
I don't think so. I don't think we'll see that. I think, ultimately, I remember when I first started at Rogers Sportsnet when I was working. I just retired and I just started, and not one Canadian team made the playoffs. Not one. And it was like doom and gloom. And then Austin Matthews came to the Leafs and McDavid went to the Oilers, and things started going on the up and up, and some of these teams started rising. Montreal's in a good place. No one talks about Montreal. They've got Cole Caulfield and that little defenseman that probably everyone thought couldn't play in the NHL. That's a light show back there. And they're both American kids and they're playing fine up in Canada. And so I don't think we'll see that. I think it was different and under the circumstances of a big name, a captain in a situation where political tensions ran high over the last few years here, obviously with government stuff, and it seeped into the game, I think, a little bit. I think there was different pressures that way on some of these guys. And like we're hearing Hellebuck now, right? And just so you know, I thought I just saw with Werenski too in Columbus. They're meeting with him after the draft to find out if he's going to stick around or not. So curious times in the NHL with players and teams. And, it's funny. I was like, we're looking at trade deadline and I was working that and I see looking down lists and it's like Kelly Yarncroc on the Leafs has like a no move clause. And that's kind of come the big talk too, how they're handing those out like candy to get guys to sign in certain places. It's like, come sign here, sign a 4-year deal. We'll give you a no move. Not a big deal. You make $2.5 million, but you got this no move. Player likes the certainty, likes the control. Yeah. Okay. I'll sign there. And then now they're going, well, now you're tying the team's hands. Like it goes both ways.
Good. Really, really good point there. You played in Montreal. You played in Toronto. Now, 2026 is a little bit different, but you're tied into the league with everything you do. Sell me on playing in Canada.
I think you go to organizations that have like big time passionate fan bases. I will say it's probably not for everyone. I think we can say that, and it's not for everyone, and that's Canadians too, to be able to play in markets like that and be under the microscope and be picked apart game to game, shift to shift with the analysis and deep dives and looks at certain teams. But I think going there, you get these franchises and teams with fan bases that have the expectation to be great every year. And look, Montreal went through some tough times too, and they've been a slow rebuild in the process, and their fans were okay with it. They didn't have to do what the Rangers, necessarily did, sending out letters like, hey, fans, we're going to do a little rebuild here and hope to calm down the Ranger waters. I think everyone generally understands the spot of their team, the strength of their lineup. I guess unless you're a Leafs fan, you think you're winning the cup every year, but that might be a mental disorder a little bit. But I played there. It was wild. We didn't have great teams, but it was like the expectations are pretty great. Like you better be there. And it can be a lot for some guys. But at the end of the day, like when I left Atlanta to sign there, I was super excited to go from a market that was Atlanta at the time and be able to go to a place that ultimately cares so much about being good and wanting to be great. And I think you get that with Canadian markets.
On the heels of that, Austin Matthews, I feel we're maybe now with Brady doing what he does, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for him to go. Also, I'm gonna bail here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works there for anybody.
He might though. He might. Like how long's he been there? Right? Like they've been there. Their core had been there a long time. Like they've had kicks at the can. They got mangled when they were good at COVID times, and they have some crushing defeats. Like, don't get me wrong, like it just like they've faltered. But they got in a flat cap situation when they were good through certain times where they could have maybe punched it a little harder, and they were stuck because of money allocated at the time, and that jammed them up. But like he's been there a while. Like we saw McDavid sign a 2-year deal. And a team-friendly 2-year deal, like really friendly 2-year deal, which kicks in next year. And it's like, he didn't sign the big, long extension. It's like, hey, so, it goes for him too. Like he's put in his time, couple Stanley Cup finals, like wants to be that guy. He's given him a chance, but he's given him that 2-year window to say, hey, I'm not going to stick around if we're not going to be doing the winning. And I want to be a part of it. And he's pulled his weight, no question. But it's like every guy has their shelf life somewhere, I would come to guess. And ultimately, they want to win and be in a place where they can win. And so the clock ticks on some of these teams.
I think it's next year, 12 months from now, right now, Edmonton Oilers fans are panicking. When
does it kick in? When does it kick in, though? Like after Christmas, Barn? After Christmas, the whispers start to come, or in the off season?
It could be after Christmas, man. Like if things aren't going great. Oh, I got so many Oiler fans. They're going to be jumping out of their windows.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, a couple more. Colby Armstrong's with us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. The Stahl brother. Tell us something about the Stahls that we don't know about that family.
Yeah, why don't you know? Sod farmers from Thunder Bay, they're monsters. They all own like places on a lake up there in Thunder Bay all together. I believe in the conspiracy theory world, they call them the Greys. They're a certain type of alien group that stands way taller than everyone. That would be them. It's incredible. I was so happy to see his success, like winning a Conn Smythe one, which is crazy. Like, and he just does all the intangible stuff. I'm glad it was like noticed. It's awesome. And I think, when the Penguins won back-to-back cups, Sid won the Conn Smythe the one year when Phil Kessel had more points, and like everyone's like, oh, Phil, what a run. But like Sid just does like the other stuff, and Jordan does so much of that other stuff for that team. Plus, in the final, he just like came unglued with scoring like he did when I played with him his rookie year. It was insane, and just a monster. Like in today's game and face-off circle battles on the wall, like that forechecking ability, just a terror to play against, really. And he fights in game one opening against Brady and set their team off on an unbelievable run. So yeah, I love the video of the brothers all hugging Jordan too on the ice when they won. It was just awesome. They've got a great family and parents are awesome. And I couldn't be happier for them. I don't know if I know anything. I guess that alien thing was kind of out there, but that's something
good.
Different.
I didn't know the sod farming thing either. Okay, not to bury the lead here, but we got a couple minutes left. Your boy Cruz is coming up to play in Sasky for the Saskatoon Contacts. Ryan Keller, great organization.
Yeah.
He's a 2010. What's the first thing you're going to buy him before he gets up to Sasky?
Well, he's going to be living at my mom and dad's house. He's going to be going to my old high school. He's going to be staying in my old room. I mean, how good is that? And then they got that nice new rink that the Huskies play in that they'll be at. That's where they play. Plus, Ryan Keller, a huge draw. I really like him. I've known him a long time, but him back in there running the Contacts. And I believe last year was his first year in there and able to get his feet under him this year. And hopefully he puts a good team together. But I trust him. Like, he knows hockey. He's coached at the junior level in the Western League. And he's got a great demeanor to be a coach as well. He's calm. He's cool. He's a really good guy, and a good hockey guy. So I'm like super pumped about that for him to come up there and experience. Like, I'd still be there if I didn't have these jobs and took me away all over the place. I'd be living in Saskatoon. So
it's going to be
for a kid with prairie blood in him to get back in there and get in the mix and see what it's like, and hopefully on his way to eventually making it to the Western Hockey League. That's his goal. So it's a good place to be and to grow and develop and learn how to be a man up in Sasky.
Yeah, Swift Current Broncos property. Do you show him a map before he comes up, or when you come up and say, okay, see these 4 bridges here? You don't go across these ever.
No, I don't know. He's got to figure, like, my big thing, like, figure it out, dude. Like, go figure it out. Be your own guy. Get it going. I like the fact that Shea Stevenson's kid, high draft pick this year in the first round of the Western League. Byron Bitz's kid.
Yep.
Byron Bitz's kid also will be there. A couple guys I used to hang around with and play summer hockey and work out with in the summers and stuff. Won a Memorial Cup with Shea and Red Deer also. So it's kind of cool, a connection of that, and like the hockey world connection of that back home, and that he'll get to play with those guys as kids, good players and good families, good people. So that's a kind of a cool connection for him to be able to play with guys like that and their kids.
Awesome. I can't wait. And like I said, hopefully you get to make it up here.
And hopefully I can get some more trips back up in there, get back up to Toontown. You know what I mean? I got to get up there.
Come when they play the Regina, and then I'll take you for a couple pints at Double Deuce or somewhere.
Yeah, we'll go
we'll go enjoy ourselves. Colby, as always, man, thanks so much for hopping on. I know you're a busy guy. Everything you do, appreciate it.
Keep killing it, Barn. You're the man. Appreciate it, buddy.
See ya, buddy. There he is. Colby Armstrong, Sportsnet, TNT, obviously Spitting Chicklets, Game Notes podcast, Battle of the Blades back in the day as well, joining us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It is the Sports Cage. We're on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport is the home of the Price Match Guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street, the Cooperator Center, Moose Jaw Temple Garden Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
Dru Brown won't be the quarterback for the Ottawa Red Blacks because he's been traded to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Going back to Ottawa, first-round pick in the 2027 CFL draft and conditional second-round pick in the 28. News out of Ryder Camp, AJ Ouellette not on the practice field today. Coach Mace saying kind of day-to-day. We'll see what the weekend brings, but not great news for Juju Hughes, lower body injury. Coach Mace said he's going to be out for a while. All signs are pointing to Achilles. The Riders bringing back James Burgess, defensive backfield. He spent camp with the club, former New England Patriot as well. Blockbuster trade in the NBA. Milwaukee Bucks traded their franchise, Giannis, to Miami. Bunch of players going back. Hockey news, Mike Babcock coaching in Edmonton. It's true. Western Canadian baseball tonight. Red Sox are in Moose Jaw. Swift Current playing host to Sylvan Lake. Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays currently in the 8th inning, up 6-4 on Houston. Extreme Hockey and Sport. Local. They support local. Location McIntyre Street. Baseball, lacrosse there. And then now the new one in Moose Jaw, Temple Garden Center. Under new management, Extreme Hockey and Sport. We're going to go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline before we go to hour 3. And joining us from Flowing Springs Golf Course, Brian Raymond. Did that rain, I live in the north, Brian, that rain came through there. If things weren't green before that, it's going to accelerate in a hurry.
Well, no question about it. You know, we can water all we want from our irrigation system, but you can't beat rainfall. And, you know, but to be honest, we've had enough. We're ready for the sunshine, and it's beautiful out there right now. We only had a bit of a shower a little bit earlier, so we've got the after 6 thing going on tonight, and of course we know that's a good deal, $23 to come out and play the golf course. After 3 o'clock every day, it's only $30 or $40.50. And tomorrow's Wednesday. Every Monday and every Wednesday, ladies and seniors, people over 60, get to play the golf course for $42.
It's unreal deal. Brian, when you talk about that 6 o'clock and the after 3 one, people got to understand that's valid on the weekends as well.
Every day of the week.
That's what value and all that. 7-day advance bookings, they can call or go online. And then also the one thing we didn't talk about, are you still fixing clubs out there? People maybe got something wrong or want some new grips?
Yeah, we can do that. Regripping. We've done a little bit of reshafting already this year, and that kind of stuff. Yes, we've been doing that for a long, long time. And club service is obviously still available, and as are lessons. But and probably maybe the most important thing is the driving range. We've got the biggest driving range in the area. Huge grass tees, no mats, target greens, chipping green. Great place to come out and practice, work on your swing.
Absolutely. All right. And then now people want to take advantage of any of that or make a booking. Tell them how to do it.
All righty. Give us a call at 306-543-5050. And you can book online at flowingspringsgolf.com through the Tion system.
Thank you, Brian. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
You betcha. Take care.
There he is. Flowing Springs Golf Course. Best value to golf in all of Saskatchewan, according to me, if that means anything. Still more to come on the program. Glen Suitor. After the news, put Suits to work today, asking him a couple of questions. Let's see what he comes back with. We're also going to hear more from the Riders today. It is a Sports Cage. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. We're on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back to the Cage. If you missed any of it so far today, you can go back and listen in podcast form for Fries Tallman Lumber, more than a lumberyard in Regina and Fort Capel. We talked to Rob Vanstone for a good chunk of the first hour. We heard from Riders as far as injuries are concerned. We get some of that in a bit. Also, Colby Armstrong in hour 2. For the next hour here, we're playing SaskTel Pick the Score. Text line 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals text line. Let us know your score. Riders Argos this week. Curtis is going to do the Wheel of Winning. You chance to win tickets to the next Rider home game, and if you're closest to a $200 SaskTel gift card. So for the next hour, SaskTel Pick the Score. The winning doesn't stop there. Also in this hour, we are going to do Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia. Playing for $50 to Pump Jacks Cathedral today. If you don't win, it's okay. You still win a lunch from Pump Jacks Cathedral. 13th and Albert, great place before, after the game. Taps, great menu. So that's coming up in a bit as well. Injury update on the Riders, if you missed any of it. Coach Mace today gave us an update on AJ Ouellette.
Oh yeah, it's still trending. You know, I gave him a day today, and we'll see how it feels tomorrow. But you know, with AJ, we can roll that thing all the way to the game, man. He's done it long enough.
Thomas Bertrand-Houdon was taking first-team snaps. Quali Conley also in the backfield. As for the update on Juju Hughes, not as good.
Yeah, Juju, that's a tough one, man. Unfortunately, Juju's gonna be out a long time, man. So just tough the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, but it's football, unfortunately. But rough, man. The kid was having a good game, great camp, great player, excellent kid. Just wish him well.
Yeah, that one is tough, and I think a few of you texted in. It was Heather, it was Nick, and Arnold said tough because Juju was playing so good. 936-6262 if you want to get in on the conversation. Let's do a little press coverage with Glen Suitor.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Freeze Tallman Lumber. Locally owned, family grown, rooted in our community for 70 years in Regina and Fort Capel.
Hi, Mr. Suitor.
How are you doing, Barney?
What's the significance of the number 10 on your lapel?
Well, that was our Saturday celebration of life. That was my former teammate in high school in basketball, volleyball, football. He was a receiver when I played quarterback. He was just a lifelong buddy. He wore number 10. He was a great basketball player, just a power forward guy, and we just celebrated his life on Saturdays. So a lot of laughs, a lot of tears, and I thought I'd just wear it, and I might try to see if I can pull it off on TSN for one game too, just in honor of my former teammate.
For sure, you got that kind of stroke over there. What was the gentleman's name?
Ron Barker. Ron Barker.
Ron Barker. All right, yeah, you got to pull that off. Hey, it's not every day that we see trades in the CFL, but just coming down, yes. Dru Brown, your time in Ottawa is completed.
What was it? I think it was you and Sharky talking about this, and one of you said Dru Brown's going to end up back in Winnipeg. And I can't remember which show, but I swear you guys were talking about it. And
I'll give Sharky that one.
Well, there was a quarterback situation in Ottawa, and the conversation went, Dru Brown, if he's not going to play there, and the age of Zach Collars, this seems like it could be, a situation where he goes back, and sure enough, he does. But you're right. Now it's an interesting situation in Ottawa. I mean, Max Duggan they cut. That was their number 3. They've now traded Dru Brown. They have Jake Mayer as a starter. I thought he played better in the second game than the rain game, but still, he was still Jake Mayer where you went, yeah, it was good. Okay. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of watching him going, yeah, oh, that was a good throw. Oh, what was he doing there? Oh.
It's the Gwen Stefani concert that Eric Francis and I talked to. It's like, meh. Yeah, there's some good stuff, but it's like, meh.
Exactly. You can't quite put your finger on it. That's my expert analysis right there. I don't know.
Use that this weekend. Meh. See what they say about that. Yeah. Again, Glenn, and I talked about this with Rob Vanstone in hour 1. And yes, I like to, for fun, sprinkle. But I'm looking. We got 68 points. We have, what is that? 61. And then the Riders and Calgary, we got 77 points. There's scoring in this league. Rob Vanstone goes, well, yeah, look, where's the sleeper in the quarterback front? Maybe Ottawa a bit, but all these QBs can move the ball, get it down the field, and we're seeing points. I'd way rather have this than 21-17.
Yeah, I hear you. I think most fans would much rather see lots of scoring. I mean, it's exciting. The big plays down the field, exciting. I mean, how about that Hamilton game where the first 3 passes in a row from Bo Levi Mitchell were deep down the field over 50-yarders? I mean, it gets you out of your seat. It gets you excited about the game. I heard you and Rob talk about it, and he brought a interesting. And I'm gonna check up on this. I'll follow up on Rob's comment about the 35-second clock and whether or not we're seeing more plays in games. Yeah. It would have to be, I would think, substantially more to add this kind of upsurge in scoring. But there could be something there. I'm going to look into that. Also, I'd love to see where the league really dipped in scoring was right around the pandemic when we played half a season or a partial season.
Everybody was running around in masks. That's why. No, just kidding.
And there was no training camp, and everyone had to wear masks, and you had to wash your hands after every catch. Those kind of things. So but I'd like to look again at the quarterback rosters back then. So for Thursday, I'm going to look into that and sort of maybe have a theory as to why we're seeing this uptick. But the easy answer is quarterback play. Yeah. And it just that if you have great quarterbacks in the league, in either league, you're going to see points go up.
Exactly. High school football. If you have good quarterbacks, you're going to see it go up. Okay, we had text message in hour 1. If you're listening to Rob, you heard it, because I was going to ask you this question too. I'm watching the game, listening to Dave and Luke, and I'm like, it doesn't seem like they're starting the 35-second clock when I think they should start the 35-second clock.
Heard you guys talk about it, and that I put it right on my list to talk to the league about. I said, as I'm doing my research, I'm also going to find out how consistent the 35-second clock has been, or has this been an issue depending on the park? I mean, maybe the timekeeping in different parks, there's a communication gap in some way, I don't know. But the rule should be that when the play ends, the 35-second clock begins. So the moment the play is over, the 35-second clock is now. Maybe because it's week 3, they're saying internally, and I don't think they'd ever say this publicly, but if they're saying internally, let's give it a little leeway. Let's make sure that we don't get too crazy about being bang on accurate while we sort out any of the bumps from stadium to stadium. But the rule is when the play ends, the 35-second clock starts.
That's how I understood it. I'm glad you cleared it up. I know you got it on your notepad there, and Can you report back Thursday on that one?
Oh yeah, Thursday we'll have the whole why scoring is up theory and the 35-second inconsistency, and does the 35-second clock have something to do with the scoring increase, which you guys talked about? Yeah.
I know armchair quarterbacks and armchair GMs and coaches are going to say they never should have tried that field goal and then the run back at the end of half. You get the ball there. You got a professional kicker who's actually been fairly good for the most part. What was it, a 42, 43-yarder? Yeah, you missed it. Someone's got to – how about kickoff coverage? I think, Alex Hale, it was windy, and it was a really weird wind in Calgary by the sounds of it. But, Glenn, you got to take those. You got to try and take those points there in professional football.
Yeah, there is no way that Corey Mace makes any other decision than that. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to put your field goal team out there and expect them to perform. I mean, that there's no way you start second-guessing whether or not 120-yard return is possible when you miss a field goal. I mean, first of all, you start thinking like that, and it's right down in the gutter. You're not getting out of it. So don't think like that anyway. Believe in your team. Believe in the guys that are out there, and you have to believe in your kicker. Even if he's young, he's going to miss a couple. And there's great returners in the league, and this happens. That game, by the way, was way more lopsided than it looked for most of it. I mean, that it could have been 26-3 or something without that return, or so. It was going to be a 3-score game until that return, and gave Calgary life. And momentum is a huge thing in football, so they took advantage of that and they made it a game. And then it became an overtime game, which was highly entertaining. And Trevor came through again. I mean, I don't think we're talking enough about how great he's playing in early part of this season at 40 years old. And again, the age is irrelevant now, but I just mean this may be his best football ever, and he's played some great football in his career. So I don't think we're talking about him enough.
I love the protection he's getting. Like it has to start there. We've all seen, if you've watched any kind of football your whole life, or if you played video game football, and you go and try and use the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Tecmo Bowl. Their O-line stinks. Like it's just if you got time, and then you got a quarterback that has seen a lot of the defenses, a lot of the schemes, a lot of the blitzes. People talk about it all the time, but it is so true. And he's got this receiving core, and Kean Schaefer-Baker. Next game I go to live. Well, I'm not there this weekend, but I want to watch with my eyeballs and just focus on him and what's making him so good. We got Sam Emilus the week before, then you got Kean Schaefer-Baker with multiples. I'm sitting, I'm looking myself in the mirror Friday morning when I wake up in Ottawa, and I go to sprinkle on the game, and I'm going to say, okay, who's got multiple touchdowns this week? Is it Keyshawn Johnson? You know, is it Del Duncan? I don't know who it is, but the receiving core and the continuity, and now that Trevor's been able to play with a lot of these guys like Kean Schaefer-Baker now, it looks exactly what you would think with having time together and absolute skill. Like if you're watching the stream, like these are those are powerful strides and cuts from him. He's a big man too.
Well, that's the whole thing with Kean Schaefer-Baker is he's a little bit of everything. He's got the great reach and catch radius. So guys like Justin McInnis and Schaefer-Baker are special in that regard because they can, reach those throws that are a little bit off target if they are. But in Schaefer-Baker's, for him, it's about that size too. So the hitch screen or the bubble screen to him is dangerous, and a lot of little DBs would prefer not to tackle him. So, they'll try, but they would prefer not to because he is a big guy. He he reminds me of in that regard is a little bit of Mital in Toronto, which by the way, watching the Argo game, people across the country aren't talking enough about their receiving core. That's for another discussion. They have a very, very good receiving core. But I agree with you on Schaefer-Baker. And then Sam Emilus is different. He's a smooth route runner, get on top of you quickly, has the leaping ability to catch those high throws. But let's get back to your protection point for a second, because the way you talked about the combination of a veteran like Trevor and the protection, they work together in so importantly, because there'll be times when there'll be an extra free hitter off the edge or up the middle that Trevor recognizes and then doesn't get hit. Part of the reason for the success of Schaefer-Baker and Sam Emilus is the timing throws that Trevor is hitting them. He's getting the ball to them right when they can do something with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So when the protection is in sync, they know who they're blocking, and they don't have to pick him up for long because he is seeing the field so well. Often when you see offensive lines get criticized is when you see the quarterback holding it or patting the ball a ton, or looking like he's unsure and scanning the field and not really sure where to go. And that extra 2 seconds is almost impossible to hold your block. You see more holding calls, things like that. So they really do, as you mentioned, they really do work together. A veteran guy who's seeing the field, cannot be fooled, at least hasn't been yet, and wasn't last year, and really good blocking up front.
The one thing I find really cute is when they run the run pass option and Trevor hands it off and then he scampers out to the right like he's going to take off, and I'm like, we know Trevor, you're not going to be burning down that side.
Well, we know he's not going to run, but to do it may just hold a linebacker. Sometimes it's such a reaction sport on defense that the linebacker is making his read, and he's looking at that fake where Trevor is riding A.J. Ouellette with the ball in his stomach, and he's going to pull it or he's going to give it to him. And if the linebacker sees him continue out and just takes even a half step to the outside of the formation because he thinks Trevor still has the ball, that half step means AJ may get another 4 or 5 yards. It really is that important, and it's that small of a margin that a little play fake. You see sometimes quarterbacks hand it off and then pretend to throw it.
Yeah.
That is to freeze a DB. Like, freeze a DB thinking he might throw it, and if you freeze him for a two count, then your running back might have another 10 yards or break a big one.
Back to we got a couple of text messages come here. V, Carey, and looks like Marcel Tanner. Just talking about the kicking game again, going back to that. And I know it was it gave us show prep last year talking about it, and Hale missing that, but missing the convert as well. Now, I have in my notes here that I'm praying that we don't have another kicking controversy or anything like that in Saskatchewan this year. But when I interviewed Hale for Behind the Mask on the pregame show last week, I said, "Have you done? What kind of research do you do? Because you haven't played in the league. You haven't set foot in the Hamilton Stadium. You haven't set foot in Montreal's, or And he says it's just going to be get out there at day of and try and figure it out. Well, you've been in Inver Stadium how many times? It's an interesting league like there, just like a lot of football leagues are. With if you're not in a dome, you got to figure that out. And those converts aren't automatic as they once were, especially when there's wind blowing.
Yeah, no, and that is the most important aspect of that. I mean, watching the telecast, Lapo talked about the wind for most of the first half, and about how the strategy as a former coach, would be to make sure that you change your play calling choices when you have the wind at your back, and when you have it in your face, you want to try to maintain possession and try to kill that quarter so that you can score with the wind at your back. So he talked about that quite often in the game, and that tells you, I couldn't really tell by looking at it from the television angle. I couldn't really tell how bad it was, but clearly there was wind. There was big time wind, and it gusts in Calgary. It can come off the corner. It's tricky to read, and he's a young guy. But listen, this is, we talked about this with Brett last year. In this game, at this level, if you're struggling 2 or 3 games, this is what Don Matthews, the late Don Matthews, used to say. If you have 1 bad game, no problem. Everybody does. If you have 2, it's becoming a trend, and there's concern. You might not get a 3rd. So, and I'm not saying he had a bad game. I'm saying that if over 3 or 4 games here, there starts to be a real inconsistency, then you bring in competition. And they had competition in camp too.
Good. Prairie Land Rentals text line. We have a text from a Brett L. Some guy in Ottawa went 5 for 5 last week. I'm just kidding. There was no text for that. But Curtis just brought that up, how Lawther went 5 for 5 last week. Of course, stir.
Yeah,
the old pot, right? But when you look at the league and the standings, and it is so early, like we're going to get to October and be like, remember when we thought that, it was Calgary was 0-2 or BC was 0-2, like so much is going to change, but Ottawa needs to figure something out, Glenn.
Yeah. They signed a quarterback named Vieta, I want to say, Nicholas Viteo. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. But it looks like Jake Mayer is going to be their guy, and they're going to keep building or trying to improve with Jake. That's the one team that you wonder about, and the rest of them, it's an any given night deal. I mean, they have the quarterback play. How about Chad Kelly throwing 4 interceptions and winning almost like it's funny to watch Chad and watch him just throwing the football. Like, forget about all the other stuff, whether it's his leadership technique, or sometimes he gets pretty vocal and animated, and that can sometimes go after a teammate, stuff like that. And
he's gonna get
heard
punched in the face one day from a teammate. Is what's gonna happen.
It's not going to fly for long, and I'm sure they've been talking about it already, especially when it comes to the coach. You're not going to mess around there. But just him as a player, as an athlete, as a quarterback throwing the ball, it almost looks effortless. It almost looks like he's making these throws without any concern or doubt, and
reckless abandon.
It's a good way to say it. I mean, it really is. I might steal it. It's kind of what he looks like. He just kind of almost recklessly at times throws it right over the middle. His guy comes up with a catch, runs for another 20, and now he's at 400 yards with a quarter to go. And you go like, Chad Kelly threw 4 picks and 1, relatively easily. So nothing is easy in pro sports, but you know what I mean. It just the quarterbacks across the league and the scoring, and it's fun to be. And how about Justin Rankin? Let's throw him into this discussion on some of the players that are just jumping off the page early in this season. Oh my goodness!
That game pisses me off because I'm sitting in an establishment Saturday afternoon. One schooner turns into 2 big ones because Mrs. S was shopping, so it was good. And I'm like, just drop me off there, pick me up, or let me know. There's these guys, and it was great, 3 of them, and they're watching that Germany soccer game against I forget who they were, but they were down, and I said, should I sprinkle on them to come back? There's 30 minutes left. The guy goes, well, large percentage of goals are scored in the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes of these World Cup games. And I'm like, enough said. So I hit Germany to come back and win. And then I get them to put the CFL game on, and they were like, CFL, blah. And I said, listen, there's nothing else going on this TV right here. I said, can you put the game on? I got the under. I said, I got a heavy bet on the under. And I'm watching the rain. All day. Things are okay. And then they're getting all these points. And I'm like, Chikai, what are you guys doing to me here? Obviously the under doesn't hit. Yeah, because it's 32-29. But Germany came back and won. So then I'm right in with these guys, high five, and I'm like Team Germany at World Cup. I'm like, what is going on?
How good is that with a little inside info on the soccer match to have a guy like that? You got a guy. That's everybody needs a guy. You need you have a plumbing problem, you need a guy. You have a deck problem.
Freeze Tallman.
Thank you. Exactly. It's a Freeze Tallman answer. So the Justin Rankin did not see the ball. He had one or 2 touches in the first quarter, and they were down in the scoreboard and really weren't doing anything offensively. I think Edmonton had maybe 3 or 4 minutes of possession time in the first quarter, and then a light bulb went on, and they went, wait a minute, we haven't given the ball to this guy yet. Let's try to do that. And he just showcased himself there. I mean, I hate at this stage even talking about player awards, but if you were to do it right now in the West, it's Trevor Harris and Justin Rankin. 1A and 1B. You can decide which one is slightly above that, but
okay, we're going to talk about this weekend's games on Thursday with you, but did you find out anything? Did you look up this cat, Brendan Sorsby, NCAA, Texas Tech? He wanted to declare for the NFL supplemental draft because he got into the gambling problem down there. Then the NFL comes out today and says, no supplemental draft. Mm-hmm. Sorry, bud. So now one of the things is he going to end up in the CFL?
Well, we do give that second chance. I say we as a league and as a country will give a guy a second opportunity.
Oh, the guy liked to sprinkle on his own. Let him fly.
On his own team, that's where the line is, though. That is where the line is. I mean, and apparently there was, in some of the reading I've done, first of all, the supplemental draft doesn't happen every year. It's not an automatic thing.
Yep.
It's something that the NFL has to decide upon. The teams will then try to bid on that player. Like if there are 2 or 3 players on there and they want to bid on one, how far up the draft would you spend to get this player? So if, the winning bid was first pick in the second round, then that's how that kind of works. But it's up to the league, to the NFL head office to decide whether or not, they should put this player in a supplemental draft. And they felt, and everything I've read so far, is that there was not only the issue of what he did, because he's being punished for that through the NCAA's, lost his eligibility there. So that's already been punished, but it was a little bit in that he doesn't seem to be taking responsibility for it. And they said, so what does that mean? Like, the other part and the other question for the NFL was they applied for this supplemental position about 2 weeks before the deadline, which does not give any of the teams or the league enough time to completely vet this player and how deep is this situation and what's the problem here and all of those things. So I think all of that adds up to nope, Heisman, and maybe he comes up and plays a couple of years, and maybe he falls in love with our country, and then and that is a story, Barney, that has been told hundreds of times, starting with a Ron Lancaster and a George Reed.
Yeah. If he should come up and play and then get endorsement money from one of the online gaming companies. I think that would be just hilarious. I think it's just a map.
And when I say, before someone misunderstands me, I didn't mean that Ron or George had issues with gambling or anything like that. I'm saying that they came to Canada and fell in love with it and stayed here their entire lives, and their families grew up here.
Okay. Thursday with Sharky, you're back on. That Thursday show, you know what I call it?
What's that?
Reckless abandon.
And I'm going to have some research done on some increase in scoring, so our sprinkling becomes even more accurate, because I know you're making some money on the Canadian Football League.
I am. I'm losing in golf, making in the CFL. You know who I am? I'm even Steven. Like even Jerry Seinfeld said, I'm even Steven. That's what
one of my friends is up, one of my friends is down. I'm right in the middle. I'm even Steven.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Talk to you Thursday.
Okay. Thanks, Marty.
See ya. Press coverage with Glen Suitor for Freeze Tallman in Fort Capel and Regina. More than a lumber yard, siding, windows, decking, whatever. They can find people to do it. They can do it. Shed packages, garage packages. Freeze Tallman in Regina and Fort Capel. Delivery available. Okay. We have some great texts coming in. Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Also, pick the score. Don't forget. You can send it in, pick the score. Might as well get in the mixer. That a chance to win tickets to the next Rider home game, along with, if you're closest to, $200 SaskTel gift card. But when we come back, that's my cheesy drum roll. If you haven't won anything on CKRM in the last 30 days, we're going to play Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia. So call now. 936-6262. The toll-free line, 1-866-767-0620. The question will be based on Mike Babcock. Chance to win $50 to Pump Jacks Cathedral. Call now. It's a SportsCage and 620 CKRM. Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia, 936-6262. If you haven't won anything on CKRM in the last 30 days, I'll even give you the question right now. And then we're going to play. Curtis is going to get the clip from the press conference today where Mike Babcock was asked a question and talk to the media. The question on Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia, 13th and Albert. What WHL teams did Mike Babcock play for? 936-6262. If you didn't hear the press conference, here's one of the main clips from it today in Edmonton.
Just wanted to go back to Columbus, or just maybe looking for some clarity there. You issued a statement after the guys on the podcast had talked about you looking at players' phones and such, and you basically said, this was irresponsible of them to be suggesting there was anything wrong with it. Then within a few days, when the PA looks into things, you're essentially exiting that scenario, and John Davidson, and saying you made players very uncomfortable. Mike, what happened in Columbus, and why did you choose to walk away?
Well, I chose to walk away really straightforward, and I appreciate the question here. It was very evident before the year started. I hadn't benched anybody, I hadn't talked to anybody, I hadn't sat anybody out, and it was evident that we weren't together as a staff right from the get-go. My wife gave me a call, and she said, it's time to get out of there. I'd been retired. I was pretty good at it. I got back to being retired.
So, Mike, the reporting that's out there has been about you looking through players' cell phones, asking them to share photos and such. Like, at any point, Mike, do you feel you stepped over the line with the way you handled that situation? And is there anything else that maybe we haven't heard about that happened there that resulted in you walking away?
No, to be honest with you, anytime you make anybody feel uncomfortable in your life, you should take a look at yourself and you should say, how could I do that better? And I think that's what you do as a person, is you try to always be better at what you do. The situation in Columbus, they've had a full review, and I'm thankful to NHL and NHLP for doing that. It didn't work out for us. We're excited about making it work.
It's time for SportsCage Trivia for Pump Jacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
Okay, Pump Jacks Cathedral, 13th and Albert. So good. Going out on the line. Who do we have with us? What's your name?
Janine.
Janine. Where are you calling from? Regina. Okay, Janine. You get a chance to win $50 to Pump Jacks Cathedral. Even if you don't win, you still win a lunch. So it's not all is lost. The question today, Janine, was what WHL teams did Mike Babcock play for?
Saskatoon Blades.
That's one of them.
Prince Albert.
Oh, tough one. Thanks for playing, Janine. Curtis is going to take your information. A chance. You still get a lunch, like I said, to Pump Jacks Cathedral. The answer we were looking for, a number of people texted in too, even though we said call. The correct answer was the Kelowna Wings.
So, there you go. I would have never known that.
Okay, stay on the line, Janine, and Curtis is going to get some information from you. Thanks for playing. So that means next week, we are up to $100 in Pump Jacks Cathedral. Saskatoon Blades, Babcock, 30 games played in 80-81, 2 points, 64 penalty minutes. Then he looks like he kind of went to school and then maybe bolted out of school and then went to the Kelowna Wings, where he played 68 games, 57 points, 155 penalty minutes. So a couple of WHL teams there for Michael Babcock. Yeah, he did play with the Huskies, but that wasn't the correct answer. That was a CIS. So yeah, next week, $100 on the line. So pick the score. Also, 936-6262. Just looking at some of your scores here. High scoring again. Forecast. Isn't it supposed to be a little wet? Maybe not Friday. Let's look at the forecast here as I bring it up on my cellular telephone. Friday, not bad. 24. 40% chance of rain. So I'm taking the over. Some of these text messages, James said, hey, have you heard Dru Brown to the Bombers? Yeah, we're talking about it. No name here. Do we really think the Oilers and Cassidy didn't have any kind of conversation? I do, if he wasn't allowed to talk personally. Maybe I got my head in the sand. All that. Marcel, I think the Riders could have done a little better with the Prairie Blizzard away jersey. I've saw a sweet retro white 44 at the last game. Maybe an updated retro would have worked better. I don't mind them. We released them in hour 2. Curtis showed them. If you go back in the YouTube chat, you'll be able to see them, or if Curtis wants to put them up right now on the stream as well. They're white, and I love the helmets. Jerseys are going to be so difficult for the broadcasters to call games, but they've made that known with a number of jerseys around the league, and no one seems to care. So get binoculars, is what they're saying. Every broadcaster will need binoculars on this one. I was thinking white with a hint of obsidian could be the next one. And then they're giving these away to fans at the game, jerseys off our back after the game. They're going to email the lucky winners, and you're going to get one of the white jerseys, sweaty, mind you, but you throw it in the wash.
Right off their backs.
I've seen that in hockey. I've never seen it in football. Really, I like it. I like the idea. Trevor and Regina, the kicking controversy is magnified by how good Kim was in camp in the preseason. Don't disagree. He was so good that it's tough to overlook that he should have made the roster. Import global rule thingy. Yeah.
Part of the game, I guess.
But now with the DB situation, is there maybe a chance to bring him back? I don't know. We got a number of pick the scores here. A number of other people saying Babcock never going to work in Edmonton. We shall see. We shall see. What was the other audio clip I sent you today? Oh, Brady Tkachuk. Let's go to break, and then we come back, and we'll play the Brady Tkachuk talking. It's not Sloth from the Goonies. We'll try and get that one from the Wolf as well. That was all-timer. It's a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Welcome back, Saskatchewan Lotteries Tuesday Sports Cage. Curtis is with me.
Sure am.
Backgammon, as we call them.
Terrible at backgammon. Don't call me that.
Saskatchewan Rough Rider Foundation 50/50 deadline for the early bird, Thursday, 10 p.m. This week's early bird, Blue Jays weekend in Toronto for 2. Package include return flights from Saskatchewan to Toronto, 2 nights at a downtown hotel near the Rogers Centre, 2 tickets to the Jays game. If you don't want to go, you can take the cash, $3,600 in your pockets. There you go. What would you take?
Cash is king, baby. Cash is king. You could think about how many beanbag chairs a guy could buy with that kind of money.
I'm just not a regular season baseball fan enough, and I don't really like Toronto, so I never worked there. So I think I would take the cash as well.
And I know you like to sprinkle. You can it'll be like a parlay, like a leg bet where you win the cash prize and then you put it on
put it all on the 50-50?
Yeah. Just double down.
See? We'll see if it happens.
See, I'm learning the DGen ways.
When do they announce the early bird winner though? Do they do it before?
You're supposed to know this.
It doesn't say on the sheet that I'm reading.
Well,
I only read what's in front of me.
Okay. Like Ron Burgundy?
Yes. Okay, Trevor giving us the gist of things here. Ryder's got a national long snapper in Benson now instead of Crawford, who was an American. I thought that move would open up the door for Kim to return in the roster. Very educated. Trevor could be onto something right there. Okay, back to if you're just tuning in and you haven't heard, Jeffrey was blocked from our YouTube chat.
You weren't supposed to say it.
Somehow, some way. Well, we got to monitor. We're just 2 guys in a room here. Other people monitor the chat, and some set something off. Does he send an apology letter in? What does he do? Do they want to talk to him? Is he going to get a stern talking to?
I'm going to need scones delivered here. Blueberry.
I've never had a scone.
Really?
Never had.
You grind my. Oh man, you give the gears to me all the time about stuff I haven't seen or haven't done, and you tell me you haven't had a scone.
Because it was the 80s, man, and things were deadly in the 80s. UHF, Coming to America.
Still haven't finished UHF.
Goonies. You've seen Goonies.
I've seen Goonies, yeah. My parents had it on VHS.
You never. What else haven't you had from the 80s that we've talked about food-wise? You ever had a cuckoo bar?
No.
Yeah. It was like saltwater taffy in like this thin little bar.
A cuckoo bar.
They don't even make them anymore. It was amazing. You never even had a cinnamon toothpick.
No.
You didn't even know there was such thing as cinnamon toothpicks.
There's a cuckoo bar and restaurant, Sunset Rooftop. It's
No. It was white.
It's in Greece.
Pink and brown. It was saltwater taffy. It was so good. You'd roll it up in a ball and then eat it like a small apple. There was the little ones for 10 cents and then the big ones for 25 cents, if I remember correctly.
Man, the 80s sound wild.
And 5-cent candies were legit back, not like the garbage we get now. They made 5-cent candies with purpose back in the 80s. Sastel, pick the score, still coming in 936-6262. A few moments. Let's get ticker out of the way if we can, my friend.
You want a
One,
ticker?
Two.
You want a ticker right
Let's give
now?
people an update on everything. What's going on?
You can ticky. Give me 1 sec. I'm pressing the buttons as fast as I can. I'm just going to go over here and.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Ottawa Redblacks trade quarterback Dru Brown to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this afternoon. Redblacks have received a first-round pick in 2027 and a conditional second-round pick in 2028. Interesting there. Riders, news on the injury front. AJ Ouellette looks to be day-to-day right now. Not so good for Juju Hughes. Looked like he is going to be out for a while, according to Coach Mace. Speculation is Achilles. They have brought back James Burgess Jr., rejoining the team. Spent training camp with the club. Blue Jays on the ball diamond, and it's a final 9-7. They blow a lead to the Houston Astros. Mike Babcock's coaching hockey in Edmonton this year, the Oilers. Let's see how that plays out. Big basketball trade today. Giannis goes to Miami for a load of players and some picks, and the draft is tonight. Western Canadian baseball in Moose Jaw. Regina's in town. Not sure if that's still a go. Check before you go. Swift Current hosting Sylvan Lake. Portugal 5-rip over Uzbekistan. England and Croatia. Ooh, I didn't get the score on that one. You'll have to look it up. But Colombia, Congo is this evening. I might sprinkle on Colombia and Congo.
What do you not sprinkle on?
Just for Shakira. Just to represent.
A prop bet. Shakira's going to open with
Hips Don't Lie?
Hips Don't Lie. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
That should have been a Ukrainian song. Hips Don't Lie. It is for Steelcraft Doors, Regina, Prince Albert, Saskatoon, servicing all of Saskatchewan. Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Watching this soccer game, what is that? They're doing some really cool things with their animation on the screen.
I don't know anything about TV, Barney. I couldn't tell you what they're doing.
We had good chat with Rob Vanstone on TV. People were getting in on it. Remember, people, if you weren't listening in hour one, go back. We talked about at the end of the day on a TV station, it would be the Canadian national anthem with some sort of cheesy video of all the. I remember like the prairies. It was like an airplane because there was no drones back then. It was an airplane and it was like the prairie field, and it played the anthem, and then at the end it would just go to the color bars, and that was it for 6 hours or whatever it was until things fired back up in the morning. I really would love a time machine to just go back. Okay. Can't kill that. I want to get this sketch because I know there might be some. Portugal 5-4. England and Ghana tied today. It was 0-0 for the longest time, so it did end in a tie. I have no idea if that means anything, if that's important. Canada tomorrow Qatar. No, Canada,
Switzerland.
Swiss. Qatar. We dusted Qatar already. That's a 1 p.m. start. We'll be watching that here. We should invite people in for a watch party. SportsCage Studio tomorrow.
Sure.
Brought to you. I'll pick up Western Pizza.
Why not?
Why wouldn't I? Gotta go. Okay, tomorrow also on the show, we have Arash Madani coming in. We have Greg from the Piffles podcast. He'll want to talk about things that happened. I want to know what the upgrade and tailgate that they're thinking for this Friday is. Scott Schultz is in. And we're hoping to have a little hockey talk with the World Hockey Report's Cody Jansen. So see how that goes down. Curtis, Backgammon will be back in tomorrow. I'll be back in. We will talk to you then. Thanks for tuning in.